All right, what's going on, Legion fans? Welcome to a very special episode. We are taking our comic corrections to a little bit of a different route as we start seeing new movies
done
come
this
out.
before.
I know.
This is going to be weird.
It's going to be good, though.
It's going to be special.
We picked a good one, and you're all decked
What did
out
we
for
pick?
it.
What did we pick, Greg?
Well, we're doing a comic perfection.
Comic perfection.
This is a time where a comic book movie
What
actually...
movie would we have picked,
I don't
Greg?
know. I think isn't it a Superman movie?
I don't think so. I don't know any perfect Superman movies.
What movie is it, Logan?
Well, right up there with, we did our Batman Lego builds.
That's true.
It's
true.
not. It's not
Patreon's voted for
Batman.
that.
It's not Batman Returns.
No.
It's Batman Begins. That's right.
Yeah, it is. This
Batman
is great.
Begins.
Yeah.
I am so excited that our Patreon,
they voted for
Patreon
it.
members voted for
Yeah, they did.
the Dark Knight trilogy being our comic perfection.
Our first comic
They
perfection.
couldn't. Number one,
Yeah.
unbiased account. They couldn't have picked a better trilogy
No way.
than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, it's the best.
I think it is the greatest, and I do say this unbiased, the greatest Superman trilogy of all time. And I am Superman.
Superman?
I am superhero trilogy.
There you go.
There is no good Superman trilogy.
No, because the Christopher Reeves one
Falls off.
1 and 2 was good. But
Yeah.
3 went down. Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor
Wasn't that
falls
in
off.
3?
Yeah, that was
not
that
too
was
good.
where it went downhill.
No,
a
but you're
little
right.
quickly.
This is like the quintessential superhero trilogy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to talk about it. It's my favorite. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am biased. I know that. But I believe that there is a lot of people outside of me who agree. And I mean, you take a look at
I'm
just
not a
some
big
of the
DC
scores.
fan, but I agree.
Yeah. You look at some of the scores, it speaks to it. It
Yeah.
speaks to the reality of the situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For those of you listening to us on your favorite podcast, streaming service, or wherever you are listening to us, you can't see Logan. He is wearing everything Batman.
All Batman.
So all Batman.
All
Batman
the Batmans.
hat, Batman shirt, everything Batman. Because
You know
he
why that
loves
is, though?
Batman. Because you hate Batman?
I'm Batman.
Yeah, well,
That was
I've
a
never...
bad one. I got a better one in me.
Yeah.
Give me one second.
All right.
I'm Batman.
There you go. That's a little
That was a little bit
that's
better. I got a little
better.
bit more of the growl in there.
Yeah, well, you can't give it all away. But...
Can't go too far.
Well, I've never seen Batman and you together, so...
That's right.
I guess
We're not in
we'll
the
never
same place.
know.
Well, and here's the thing. Because I told you that I am Batman, I
Yeah.
must be Batman because I share my secret identity all the time.
According to Zack Snyder. Anyway.
According to Zack Snyder, I definitely do.
Or was that Joss Whedon?
It was pretty much
Maybe
everybody.
Maybe he won't do it in
No,
Zack Snyder.
no, he will.
Same exact movie?
It's the same movie.
Probably the
And
same exact
actually
movie.
here, this isn't coming out before.
No, this comes out. We'll have already.
We'll have
Snyder Cut will
already
have
looked
been
at and
dropped,
watched Snyder Cut.
but we're recording it before.
But we're recording it
we've seen
before,
it,
and
so-
here's what I'm going to say to everybody.
Yeah.
We've already seen some of the reviews.
Right.
A number of the reviews have said
They have.
exact same movie.
Yeah, just they flesh out the
They
story.
flesh
a little
it
bit
out more,
but
make
it's
it
the same thing.
4.5 hours, still the same movie.
Well, we'll be watching it soon, and I hope. Well,
There's no good that can come from this.
no, there's not, and we'll talk about that more when we actually get.
That's
into it.
right. Let's get
do
into
it.
this, though. Let's get into some
Yeah.
perfection. I don't want to talk about any correction. Let's talk perfection.
That's right. All right, so we're going to run our perfections the same way that we run our corrections.
That's right.
We're going to do a carnage report. We're going to do a correction or more of an evaluation of that perfection.
Yeah, perfection report.
And then we'll
something
give a
along those
verdict.
lines.
So,
That's right.
Yeah, so we will say even in our perfections, there will be things that we would correct because
That's
you're
true.
never going to completely 100% satisfy a comic book fan.
Almost.
Almost. Real
I will
close.
say.
This movie was real close.
Not this one.
Dark
No.
Knight was even closer.
The Dark Knight was the
Yeah.
closest you're going to get to
Real
it.
close,
That's
yeah.
And when we get to that one, there's going to be very few corrections around that.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well,
there's
it'll-
maybe one.
It'll
But
be like 30 seconds long because we're just going to start the
so
recording
short.
and just say
so short.
best movie, best
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Moving on.
All right, let's jump into our Carnage Report. All right, so in the Carnage Report here, we're going to look at how much money it made. We're going to look at who was in it, and then talk a little bit about some of the background, the comic books that kind of got inspiration from. So our budget here for Batman Begins, Chris Nolan's first of his trilogy, $150 million.
Yeah,
So,
bigger budget than I actually thought for
I thought so, too. It was it felt very grounded anyway.
Yeah, I was expecting, 100, 125, but 150 seemed a little bit big for me, but
it was the Tumbler.
Probably.
Probably the Tumbler.
Probably the Tumbler.
That was real.
Legit.
That was a real vehicle.
And the rooftop Tumbler scenes where it was actually on rooftops.
Yeah, and they wrecked all those roofs.
They destroyed them.
They could do it just like one. They had like one take in it.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe that's where it went. So $150 million, but they made that back. They made it $371 million for their worldwide gross.
Legit.
So made bank. Not surprising to me at all.
Kicked it off, and we've had some others that have made more money and we're like, this is actually a correction.
Right,
but here's the thing. This was the first in a trilogy that he had planned. It was the kicking off and rebranding of Batman.
Yeah.
They were rebooting the trash.
Yeah, the last
that
Batman
had been. The last Batman before this was
Clooney,
Batman.
right?
Yeah, was Batman Forever.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
and Forever was Val Kilmer, which didn't do well either and was trash.
Yeah.
But then you go to Batman
Even
and
worse.
Robin,
Yeah.
even worse. And then they just were like, no, we need to stop for a little bit. We need to reset the gears here.
The Bat credit card, right?
The
you,
Bat
you
credit
never
card,
leave the Bat cave
the
without
Bat
it.
nipples.
Oh, man, it
my
was
gosh,
so bad.
it was horrible.
I feel so bad for that movie and everyone involved in it.
Exactly. So they had to
big,
take a breather. They had to stop and reassess what they were doing.
And they were going on a limb. I mean,
yeah.
People didn't really have a lot of respect for Batman when it came to live action.
Not at
the
that
animated
point.
series,
Not at that point at all.
Right at this point, Batman the animated series was out. Batman Begins was out. The New Adventures of Batman and Robin were out.
Great.
People loved the animated series.
Animateds
they loved
were
the comic
killing
books. Yeah, but the movies, man, it was this was a stretch here.
There hadn't been a good
Nolan.
one since Batman Returns.
Right, Chris Nolan was a great director, but he hadn't done superhero movies before. He had done Memento and things like that.
Yep.
So the Prestige and things like that, he's known for not.
He's known for the
movies.
gritty. He's known for the gritty. So this all of this was a little bit risky.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, but he went for it and he went hard, and it worked out for him. So, Rotten Tomatoes, the critics. Which, again, that's the harder one to get a higher score usually on. They got an 84% for the critics.
That's
and
right.
The audience gave it a 94%.
That's right.
Yeah, solid.
That's exactly where this should be.
Yeah, 250,000 plus ratings for the audience score, and it still came out to a 94%. So
that's amazing.
That's solid.
That's a real solid review.
Yeah, this is 2005. I didn't realize it was that early, man.
Yeah.
2005?
Yeah. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. That's pretty cool.
And still holds up.
Still
holds up.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
Because of what we're going to talk about in our perfection.
Yeah, I can watch it today, and it sits up there right with all the MCU movies.
Exactly.
Like in quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so cast, for the most part, this cast was like firing on all cylinders.
For the most part.
For the most part.
There's one.
In our opinion, there's like one glaring.
Rough exception to that.
Yeah.
One glaring exception.
And really, it's glaring. So we got Christian Bale coming in as Bruce Wayne, right? A long way from the Newsy.
Yeah.
Both orphans.
American Psycho.
Yeah.
People were not thrilled about him being cast. Actually, let's put it this way. Nobody's been thrilled about any Batman being cast except for maybe George Clooney, like we had said. The one that he actually, that people were like, they bombed it. But, I mean, this is an amazing casting in Christian Bale. He knocked it out the park. It was incredibly surprising to people, but it was his role in American Psycho and the way that he played that that actually landed him the part.
Right, because he could give into a character so fully.
Right.
And who lived a double life.
Exactly.
And so it's just perfect. He had never gotten this big. Actually, Chris Nolan called him and I don't know if you've heard this story, but he called him and said, like, get as big as you can.
Yeah.
He came in for the audition, and Chris Nolan already kind of knew he wanted him. He came in the audition, and they were like, you're too big. So he had to actually lean back a bit.
Which is amazing to me, because one of the things you and I have talked about is he's small.
Yeah, he's
like,
not a
he's
big
actually not a huge Batman.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Batman, we're looking 6'2", 6'3", 280.
Yeah.
Like, you want him solid and jacked. Batfleck is actually your ideal
Bat
like, and
physique.
that's what you want to see for a Batman. And he's coming in much smaller, both in terms of height and in terms of weight.
Yeah.
But he made it work.
Yeah, and it's the early years, so it's okay if he's a little bit smaller.
Sure, but in this movie,
later.
the funny thing is, in this movie, he looks bigger because of the suit, and then when they start trimming down the suit to like give him more mobility,
smaller.
he looks smaller and smaller, which is actually what throws it off more.
He did get more cut for the other films.
Of course he did.
had much more muscle mass in this first one. Like he looked.
Yeah, he did.
Like when you see him training in the League of Shadows, like he wasn't super,
not even
super
the
defined.
scene where you see him. The scene where you see him the most is when he gets woken up by Alfred.
Oh yeah,
and he has to get out of bed, and he
back,
immediately starts doing
push-ups.
Yeah, that's the scene that you see how big he is.
Yeah, they do a nice cut away from that because if you actually do that, you run the risk of breaking your wrists. So he didn't actually fall all the way down. He fell into a mat, and they cut to a side shot.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
not to break the illusion. I tried it. It hurts a lot to fall down to your wrists like that.
We may need to try that.
Yeah. Well, we can't. Grass is easier. If you do it on grass.
All right. Well.
All right. So Christian Bale comes in as Batman. We get Michael Caine as Alfred.
Caine.
Man, he just so good, and he's a mainstay for Chris Nolan films. Like,
he was a perfect casting. I mean,
really, really good.
He was absolutely the perfect, phenomenal, quintessential Alfred. This was spot on.
He could do the father figure, and also like the quips about how like when he asked him like when he can't even push the beam off him, he's like, "What's all those push-ups for?"
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He was perfect for Alfred. Liam Neeson comes in as Ducard, but
I want to be clear about something here.
Yeah.
So Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage for me. They're right here and here, man.
Wait, which one's on top?
Well, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, come on, man. It's Liam Neeson.
He hasn't won an Oscar.
He hasn't?
No.
Yeah, but it's Liam Neeson, man. He's
sorry.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
He's
Qui-Gon Jinn. He's Aslan. And he's Zeus.
Liam Neeson.
Qui-Gon Jinn, Aslan, Zeus, and the dude from Taken, and Ra's al Ghul.
He hasn't won an Oscar.
Whatever. So
he's right here, but I'm saying I love Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's so good.
I love him.
Well,
he's absolutely for all the reasons that you just said.
Yeah.
I give him immense respect. Yeah. I'm saying he's a step right down from the Lord of War, Nicolas Cage.
The bees. All right, so he comes in. We get Gary.
I don't know if I could give him any higher respect than what I just gave him, sir.
All right, well. I think you could. We have Gary Oldman coming in as James Gordon.
First off, Gary Oldman, I swear to you, is in every movie, and you don't know he's in it.
Him.
He has put on more makeup and dove deeper into characters.
Yeah.
He has been in more movies than people realize, and they have no idea he's in them.
Dracula, Fifth Element, Book of Eli.
Yep. I mean,
Sirius Black.
I started that conversation with my dad one time. I was like, I really think Gary Oldman is like one of the greatest actors. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, these are all the movies he's in. And he's like, I never even realized that was him.
Yeah, and he disappears. It's great.
He is completely in a role. You never know Gary Oldman is in the role. You never know he's the actor is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he is the Frank Miller Gordon from like Batman Year One.
Yes.
Like he is that Gordon. He is perfect. And he gets a lot of inspiration from Year One. We'll talk about that.
But
man, great. So he's in there. We got Tom Wilkinson as Carmine Falcone.
Great.
We get Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox.
Phenomenal casting.
We finally get to see a Lucius in here.
We have never seen a Lucius before, and this is the first and best time to be able to introduce it.
Oh, man. And then we got Cillian Murphy.
Yes,
Peaky
as Scarecrow.
As Scarecrow. Man.
Yeah, I mean, this is before he had done Peaky Blinders, but this is really what got him Peaky Blinders, that dark side.
So good.
Oh,
yeah,
so good.
As Jonathan
Put him on the map.
So great. And then we have our little hitch here. We have
little blip on the radar.
Yeah, we have Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes.
It's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, she's not the worst actress in the world, but she did not do well. Well, not in other. I'm just saying, like this movie in particular. She didn't do well in this. This movie in particular, I don't know what it was.
She did not emote.
She didn't have the chemistry.
She didn't
have. Maggie Gyllenhaal comes in the next movie, and she has way more chemistry with Christian Bale.
Still not a better replacement, but Katie Holmes was the worst.
Katie Holmes was
the worst.
So bad.
She's the worst.
She is. Yeah. You can't win them all, right?
No,
you can't win them all.
I mean, they got everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah.
She was real rough.
Oh, and Ken Watanabe.
Oh, yes,
he plays the fake Ra's al Ghul, right?
Which was great for the short period of time that he was in it.
Yeah, he died pretty quick. But he was still fun to see. And again, he's another Chris Nolan regular.
Chris Nolan mainstay.
But he was just really cool to see in there, too. Yeah, what a great cast.
Amazing cast.
What a great movie.
Right, and this is one of the first times that we can actually say this. DC cast and wrote well. And had a great movie. I can't say that about most DC films.
Yeah.
DC films is normally great cast, terrible movie. This time they actually casted well and had an amazing movie.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I've been looking forward to since Patreon has voted on this.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to doing this episode only because I just feel we've been ragging on DC for so long.
I know.
And
I know.
They deserve
I'm finally in my glory.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in my glory.
I'm not saying they don't. They deserve the rag we've been giving them.
Oh, 100% for the movies that we've been talking about.
But man, there are some good ones. And this trilogy just takes the cake, and so I'm just excited to let you talk about DC in a good light instead of talking about fighting their directors in the streets, right?
Yeah, I will. I will do it with Zack Snyder.
All right, let's get to
Christopher Nolan, though.
Chris Nolan?
Yeah, I mean, I'll
won't
shake
come
his
back,
hand straight in the street.
No.
I'll shake his hand. I'll walk into traffic for him.
All right, I won't go that far, but he's a great director.
He's an amazing director.
He won't come back and do any more movies, unfortunately.
Which is actually what we talked about was probably the beginning of the downfall of the DC universe.
They lost him.
They wanted Christopher Nolan to be the helming it and overseeing it like Kevin Feige, and then they got stuck with Zack Snyder.
Right. Well, and he did. He was like an executive producer on Man of Steel.
He was supposed to Godfather, and like that's what they had talked about.
He just
and then he didn't.
But here's the deal. In all honesty, I
honestly don't know what an executive producer does.
No,
because
it's
like
consultant.
people are
a consultant.
Yeah,
so he,
people. There's all these like executive producers, and then like actors get tagged as executive producers. I'm like, what are they doing?
It's a glorified title, but I think for him, I mean, Hans Zimmer, who did the music for the Batman trilogy, also came and did the music for Man of Steel.
Yeah,
and I think he kind of had some input, but in all honesty, I don't think he wanted to. Like, I think
he was.
He's
done.
too big for it. He's just I'm gonna do
other
stuff.
He wanted
now.
his own.
I want to do
he
other
wanted
things.
to do his own thing.
Yeah,
I mean that's really, and he wanted to use syncope to be able to drive it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Tenet?
I haven't seen Tenet yet.
I haven't either. Is it Tenet or Tenet? Tenet. I haven't seen it, but I heard it's good.
Apparently,
I heard
it's
confusing.
I'm sure. Like I've heard, like you basically through the movie, like you go through this phase of like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea where we are. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen, and you basically go through that loop.
So every Chris Nolan film.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, let's get to that correction.
Except for the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right, he was straight shoot.
He
didn't. Yeah, he just did what he had to do.
Any twists or weird things.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
we wanted the story, and he gave us the story.
Gave us the story we wanted.
For sure. All right, let's get into it.
We need to talk about source material.
Source material.
Yeah,
because it's
got to talk about
source
material. But for
the
source material for this, we have to talk about it for this. Give this to me, Greg.
All right, you're right. Batman Year One.
Exactly.
Frank Miller, Frank Mazzucchelli, I think his last name is something close to that. One of my even though I can't remember exactly how to say his last name, one of my favorite artists.
Well, one of the best comics for
Batman Year One
ever. Batman Year One,
good.
Bruce has not. He's just come back. He's just come back from his training.
Yep.
He's just coming back to Gotham.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing yet in terms of as Batman. He's discovering the role that he needs to play.
Right.
Gordon is not the police chief yet. He's actually just a low-level captain at the time.
Yep.
He's just actually coming to Gotham. He hasn't lived here. He's being moved here, shipped here to work here, and he's turned off by the corruption that is currently within Gotham PD, and he feels helpless to do anything.
Yeah.
It's an amazing dynamic between the two of them, and their discovery and their story of like being able to form this alliance that is really on some unsure footing for a period of time because neither really trusts the other completely yet, and they don't have any reason to either.
Well, one's a police officer and one is a
straight up vigilante.
Psychopath?
Yeah, I mean, like on the maniac.
definitely
on that level,
unhinged.
Yeah. Broken to an extent.
Well, and what's cool is that year one centers a lot around the crime families of Gotham.
Exactly.
And not like the big, flashy supervillains.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so I really liked how they took from that.
That goes to one of our points here, that this stays really grounded.
Yeah.
This stays really rooted, and we're going to talk about that more.
Yeah.
But it stays very genuine, too. Like, this is a superhero fighting real crime.
Right.
Not like crazy, like out there crime that
space
and aliens and what was that he said the big
three,
the three P's,
aliens, androids, and wizards.
The 3 A's.
No, just the big three. Called them aliens, androids, and wizards.
Yeah. So Falcon in Falcon and the Winter Soldier trailer says, if we're fighting things, we're fighting one of these three: aliens, androids, and wizards. That's all we fight.
Yeah, which is very true for most superhero movies.
For most superheroes, but this is not that.
No,
and which is amazing.
Gangs
and you become completely invested in that.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, so we've got that. We've also got pretty much anything that goes along with the lore of the Demon Head and Raish. And so they tie that in there, which is pretty cool. The League of Shadows, which is, again, something that the movies have not touched.
And they break the Lazarus Pit to be able to make sure that it stays grounded. I love that. Normally I'd be like, if you're doing Raish, you've got to do Lazarus Pit. You've got to be able to do that piece. But in this case, they broke that, and they did it in such a cool way by being able to have the identity be passed on and passed on and passed on. Who is
Raish actually?
Who is he? And that's amazing because it keeps true to the Lazarus Pit idea with still keeping it really grounded in reality.
Yeah. Well, and it makes it allows us to draw a really cool parallel to Batman's idea of he's a symbol, not a person.
Exactly.
So he's the symbol of justice and hope in Gotham, not him. So that's why other people can wear the cowl and still produce the same effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's get into this.
All right, here we go. All right, what is the what are we kicking off with?
So the first thing is exactly what we've already been talking about. One of the most amazing parts of this movie that I don't think any other movie has been able to replicate.
I agree.
Is how down to earth and how gritty this movie is.
Yeah.
And it sets up for the whole trilogy that this is an incredibly grounded, down to earth, gritty superhero film. And it is a crime fighting film, and it is about what it takes to actually clean up the underbelly of Gotham City.
Yeah, corruption.
That is phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
They don't go with all this ridiculousness that comes along with some of these superhero movies that you can get into because the parameters are set in a way that, like, okay, I can be completely invested in this. The parameters for this movie is real world. Real world. It has to be able to work. I have to be able to, at least to some extent in my mind, believe that I could go out and actually do this myself. And to the reality is I do it on a daily basis. It's just my life. They were making a biography,
it was
a documentary
on
about my life.
I'm glad you make time for the podcast outside of fighting crime.
I do. Yeah.
No, you're right. The first like half of the movie, we don't even see him in the suit.
Never.
So he's living with criminals. He's in prison. He's training with the League of Shadows, and then he's going out.
He believes he needs to be in prison because it's the best place for him to understand criminals and also fight crime.
Yeah.
He's literally just there because they're trapped with him.
Yeah.
He wants to be there because he wants to destroy them.
Yeah. It's
at the source.
Well, and what's cool is that Raish then kind of flips it and says the criminal is not hard to understand. What's hard to understand is yourself and like what you need to do and the courage it takes to act to actually make a difference. And what's funny is that who becomes his enemy is actually the guy that pushes him down the path of Batman being a symbol.
Exactly.
And it was
exactly.
It's so great, but it's so like you said, so real. Like this could be a dude going out and doing these things. I mean, he holds Gordon up with a stapler like at the beginning. That's so great. He has no gadgets at the beginning.
Just in that scene alone. So his whole career as Batman is almost over in that exact
just
moment.
Jumping away from Gordon, trying to get away.
He's got a stapler. He's got a ski mask on, and he has no armor. And he's leaping across buildings, landing on a fire escape.
Ribs on the fire escape.
Wrecking his body. Trying to get away from the person who eventually becomes his closest ally.
Right.
And it's like in that singular moment, he almost ruins the entire rest of the story.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Yeah.
That's the mistakes that Batman's going to make in his early career. He is not Batman out the gate.
Right.
He's not Batman year 5, year 10 out the gate. He makes mistakes, and you've got to be able to see him make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's what this does so well.
Yeah.
And
definitely
the emotional beats are there as well.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that they change is, Thomas Wayne is actually a loving father. In the comics, he's more aloof. He's more standoffish. He's much harder on Bruce. In this one, you get that real, that special dad-son bond that you see. So then the loss of his parents is even more impactful to you. You see how hard that is because you get the flashes of Thomas and their interactions together. And then you get the insertion of the new father figure, which is Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
And then you get the emotional beats of him training him, being hard on him, but still caring for him in ways similar to Thomas. So then when it becomes that it is Ra's at the end that is the true villain in this, you are wrecked.
You're like, no,
you're gutted because of it. And you know it's coming because it's Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
So if you are a Batman fan, you know where this is going.
And as soon as you saw him, you're like,
uh-oh.
That's Ra's.
Yep.
As soon as you start training Bruce, you're like,
you've got Ken in there in the getup. And you're just like
Liam Neeson's not just in there to look pretty.
Yeah.
Right?
Liam Neeson's wasn't cast to be just Descartes training him. No, that's not happening. He's going to be something more.
Yeah.
So the emotional beats of that
is
insane. And then you also get to see his challenges with wanting to take the law into his own hands before he even has his training.
Right.
And then the interactions between Rachel and him and being incredibly disappointed in him. And even though
being
Katie
reckless.
Holmes can't act her way out of a paper bag in this, you see it on Christian Bale's face. You understand it from his perspective. I'd want to do the same thing if I was in that position. It'd be hard not to want to feel that. And him just stepping away completely from his legacy, from what his parents are leaving behind, to be able to
help
then
people.
come back and help in a way that he couldn't before. It's the perfect story to set up for this being what is my second point, which is this is a perfect origin story.
Yeah, well, and it's the first for Batman.
For Batman, this is the first origin story in film.
We've seen his parents get shot a million times.
Oh, always.
So
we've seen that every movie.
At this point, it's like, stop. We've seen poor Martha and Thomas.
They've died so many times
every
at this
movie.
Point. Yeah.
And the first Batman with Tim Burton, they tried to flesh it out a little bit by making the Joker the one who killed. They tried to build into his background that Joker was one who killed.
I didn't like that little piece of that. I didn't think
either,
it was actually a good tie-in.
No, I didn't either. But at least that was the only instance we had of them trying to expand the story of his parents' death. Because otherwise, in every other film, it's just his parents get shot and he becomes Batman.
I do believe that move though in Batman actually degrades the character of the Joker.
Oh sure.
Which I don't want to go too far ahead, but in The Dark Knight, that is the true Joker, where he only exists
just anarchy
because Batman exists.
Yep. He's
Batman
his foil.
came into existence, so he came into existence.
Yeah.
And that's the Joker.
It's the idea of progression. Gordon mentions it.
Right. Well, it's the idea of progression.
Armor-piercing rounds, and they buy,
but
Kevlar
we don't
vests.
actually know who the Joker is in
And
comics. People have always wanted to create a history for the Joker, a storyline or a background for the Joker. It's the movie,
and that's
the
the movie, The Joker, I'm not a fan of what they did. Because
I am not either.
The Joker's supposed to.
He is just.
He's more of
because of Batman.
He's more of a projection of the opposite of Batman.
Exactly.
He's not supposed to be his own person. He's just the physical representation of evil.
The unstoppable force meeting an immovable objects. Exactly. It's the perfect explanation.
Yeah, but anyway,
so
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But coming back to this is
the origin story, the first time.
30 to 45 minutes of the movie is just
he's
origin.
Not Batman.
Where he's not Batman.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would even argue even longer he's not Batman because he's going through the trials of, I messed that up.
Yeah, well, I think
what do we need to do to correct around that to be able to do this right?
Like the scene where he finds the Riddler he finds Scarecrow and the guys getting the drugs in that apartment building. And at that point, he has like all his gadgets.
He's got it all on him. He's
he comes in and he starts out real good. The guy's like in the bathroom. He smashes his face in the mirror and everything. But then the Scarecrow gets the best of him and sprays him, and he's not ready for that. And then lights him on fire. And it's just like, oh man! So the gadgets are not what make Batman Batman, right? It's
right.
And that's one. And I know we don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but that's one thing that always bugged me about the Justice League line where he's like, "What's your superpower?" And he's like, "Money." And it's like I get that they're trying to be funny, but like, no, if somebody else was given all of those things, they still wouldn't be Batman. Yeah, he's had to learn it. He's had to grow in it, and we're seeing him grow in it. That's so cool.
So that's the thing that people don't realize many times about Batman is Batman in the comics leaves at 20. He doesn't return until 30. His crime-fighting career doesn't start until 30. Batman Begins shows that. Yep. It shows at least not a decade, but years.
He
pretty
left
close to.
He left in like college, and he came back like a grown-up.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not. It could be 6 to 8 years.
Sure,
but what I'm saying is, it's pretty close to showing that decade of difference. He's starting his crime-fighting career at 30.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah, because
it's a young man's game.
Yeah,
and
the human body.
I'm not saying 30s old. I'm 30. Almost 32, but I'm about to have my 4th child. I'm not about to start my I'm wink wink. I'm not about to start wink wink. I'm not about to start my crime fighting career at 30. That's crazy to me. Wink wink.
Yeah, no, it's true because it's. I mean, and again, we have to remember, and this film does such a good job of doing that in its origin, is that his origin story does not involve him getting powers or realizing he's an alien or getting magic, right? He's still just a dude, and he's having to beat himself up to get through this and become the protector
of Batman.
Yeah,
and that's why they did such a good job of making it a true origin story and focusing on the origin because, like, for some others, like you said, they gain their powers overnight. Yeah. With the snap of a finger. Like, they don't have to do much exploring to like get to where they are or start
to like figure out their powers once they have it.
I mean, they showed in Man of Steel.
Yeah, Man of Steel. He has to fly and stuff.
But it's only flashbacks.
Yeah.
With Man of Steel, it's quick things.
Yeah.
Like they do small snippets.
Yeah.
Like with Batman, his story,
the whole story,
the majority of his story is him becoming Batman, and they showed that here. Which hasn't been done before because everybody, when you get to a superhero movie, what do you say? You say, I want to see this person in action.
So origin stories should take like 5 minutes, and then the rest of the movie needs to be them being, their cool ultimate version of themselves.
Right, exactly. And this was not that. We never actually got the whole movie until the absolute very end.
No, The Dark Knight is the first time we actually see him as Batman.
True.
Like real Batman.
Like real. Well, I mean, I would argue
maybe
in
the
his
end
fight
bit with Ra's at the very end on the
train.
I
would argue that is true Batman right there.
But he's not experienced yet.
But that's the first time you see it in the movie where he's fully as Batman.
The last
maybe 20 minutes of the movie. That's amazing.
Yeah, and the amazing part is that it's still good. Like, it's
you
still
are
captivating.
engrossed. Yeah.
Well, hey, who'd have thunk that if you stick to comic material and characters and good story writing that you might actually come out with a good film?
Oh my gosh, what are you talking about? Staying to comic accuracy?
I know. Yeah, you did. And this is DC.
This is DC. We're talking this is the King Double Check.
Right one?
Batman is DC. There it is. Yeah, Batman's DC.
Yeah, well, you're right.
We're just making sure.
Batman's DC. Who would have thought?
But yeah, I mean, so sticking to the actual comics, we get to see so much more of other characters too.
Oh yeah,
we get Lucius.
Yeah, well, this goes right into our final point, which is this movie is, out of pretty much any comic movie I've seen, Marvel or DC, this is one of the most comic accurate,
true to comic lore movies
I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And it's just chock full of lore that is straight from the pages. And it works. It's so good. But yeah,
why
Lucius,
do we fall? Why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves back up again.
I showed a meme of that. So when I started...
A meme?
I teach STEM with my students and robotics, and when we learn about how, like, you make mistakes in this.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. And I showed, like, the meme of that.
Yeah.
And none of them knew what movie it was.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, my goodness, how old am I? But, hey, it's 2005.
Yeah.
So these kids are, like, 12 years old, so they weren't even born yet.
Fair.
But I was like, oh, no.
But that is a line.
But
that is a line
I use.
I use with my children.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen me use it with my children. I was teaching Fallon to ride her bike, and she was struggling so much, she fell over. I said, Fallon, why do we fall?
Yeah.
And she
knows
so we can learn to pick ourselves back up.
Yeah, come on, Dad.
Come on, Dad.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah, that's literally like that's straight from the pages of the comics. That so line is straight from there. And we get so many of those characters that we would not have gotten before.
You said we have not seen it. We even rarely saw a Lucius in anything. No, I don't think we had seen a Lucius in anything outside the comics.
Right.
So I don't think any of the animated series had Lucius or anything in it.
And he's such a huge character.
He's so important. And we get to see him, Morgan Freeman, bring him to life. And man, his whole everything about whenever Morgan Freeman came on the screen, it was just like, yes, more Lucius. Like he was just so good.
The interactions between
the billionaire
Bruce
playboy
Wayne
spelunker
and Lucius before he is in charge of the company. Lucius, are amazing.
Oh, they're so great.
What is that over there?
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that, Mr. Wayne.
He goes, does it come in black?
Does it come in black? I
love it.
Yeah, and actually, my favorite is when Lucius actually checks Bruce. Where he says to him, like, you don't need to help me with this. Like he said, but he's along the lines of like, I just don't want you to treat me like I don't know what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's something along those lines.
Like,
it's not that exact line.
Don't think I'm stupid about
this.
I
just
know
don't
what you're
think
doing.
I'm stupid.
You're
I know what's going
not
on.
Cave diving or whatever. Spelunking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite scenes of his is when they get in the tumbler together and they're driving and Bruce like guns it and he's like holding onto the seat like, oh my goodness, this dude really is nuts. I think it was at that moment that he was like, he's using this for. This isn't just him being a crazy dude. Like him being a crazy
not a billionaire playboy
just having fun,
messing around.
No, he means business.
Yeah.
He's actually testing this thing out in a logical
way. He's testing what it can do.
Yeah,
not just to
prototype.
Like not just to because a billionaire playboy is going to ride that around.
Yeah.
Like he would take that out on the street and maybe roll it around and maybe ding some cars. But to actually like gun it, see what it can do, ask some different questions about it,
see how it handles.
Something more is going on, and he knows that, and he has almost the same level of intellect as Bruce Wayne. He's almost as smart. And it's like he's this is a team up now. This is like he's also bringing his team together. He's got Alfred. He's got Lucius. He's bringing his background characters to back behind him.
Yeah, and like you said, ones we haven't seen or haven't dove into. Like Alfred was always like, you could always tell he was kind of something more in the movies.
Right.
But they didn't really dive into that loving relationship between him and Bruce. And they do such a great job of that in this movie, and you really feel the care for each other, right? Like when I just think of the scene where the house is burning down.
Yeah.
And he gets out from under the rubble and he drags him to the elevator, and Bruce goes, "You're not giving up on me, huh?" And he goes, "Never." And it's just like it's back to that.
No, he doesn't say that.
Right. So he says,
"Never." Never.
Yeah, and it's just like oh man, like because it harkens back to the flashback we saw where he's not giving up on him even when he was going to drop out of an Ivy League school, and like it's like man, there's those emotional beats that. And the reason why they work...
And all of that is true to the comics.
That's what I was going to say. The reason why it works is not only is it good character writing, but we come in with an already built foundation of love for these characters.
That's exactly right.
They're playing right off those foundations. And it's beautiful. It's like a symphony, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie is amazing. Yeah. I think for those three big reasons, they nailed this.
It is
as
a comic perfection.
Way to launch off their vision for what would come next.
Oh, yeah.
And, Christopher Nolan knew what he was doing from the very start, and he knew if I'm making a down-to-earth Batman movie, I don't need to go far to find that. It's already here in the comics.
Yeah.
I can just look at some of these more grounded comics, like Year One, to be able to do this right. And if I'm going to do Origin, I better look at Year One.
Oh, yeah. And he did, and he obviously did.
Clearly did.
And all the right stuff, man. It was just, man, it feels good to talk about a movie that actually did justice.
Feels weird.
I don't know if
I like it. It feels weird.
Yeah, because usually we talk about how it ruined.
I'm yelling
our
for
comic
different
fans.
reasons.
Yeah, well, you're still yelling though.
I am yelling.
Yelling for joy.
I know, but it's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Doesn't. Well, maybe we'll feel better
because it's Batman. I can get by it.
Okay, all right.
I can work through it. I can work through the pain.
Through it.
I'll get there.
All right, well, let's muscle through the verdict.
That's right.
All right.
So, for the verdict, the big three reasons that we said this is our movie, this is perfect, is it was down to earth, gritty writing. It showed Batman for who he really was, and it stayed true to that. It didn't work outside of its parameters at any point, and it was a Batman fighting crime in the underbelly of Gotham.
And they took like otherworldly villain. Like Scarecrow's not super realistic in some iterations, but
iterations, you're exactly right.
But they built him into this, like the drug underworld and the hallucinogens and they really dove into his psychiatry thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just like, man, everything was funneled through that lens of the Frank Miller and those those origin stories there, and it just it worked perfectly.
Second is it's a true origin
story. Origin story.
True origin story.
And one we're not
they
sick
took
of.
the time. Exactly.
Like,
well, we haven't seen it before.
Well, yeah, but even so, there are some ones that we don't, and origin stories fall flat. They just feel like, oh, great, another origin story. I just want to see them in action. But this did it all right. It did all right.
Good example of that, and I'm sorry for this.
I'll go for it.
I'm sorry for this, but
I
don't need to see another Spider-Man origin story.
Oh, no, I'm totally...
they do it with every reboot, they do that.
Well,
and I'm like, why? Why are we doing it again?
That's why I liked the Spider-Man Homecoming, because it wasn't.
Right.
He was already Spider-Man. We didn't see Uncle Ben die. He already had the powers, because it was... They realized it was like, nobody wants to see this again.
Nobody can.
Nobody
can do it again. We've seen it too many times.
Just go past. Let's be Spider-Man.
Yep.
But nobody had done the origin story correctly for Batman, and so we got to see it.
Exactly.
And it was wonderful.
Well, and we got to see the entire thing.
Yeah.
They took the time to do the origin story for Batman, which is a huge part of his background.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to do this well.
It's more than just the pearls.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And then 3 is sticking true to the comics.
Oh yeah.
This is not hard.
It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. You've got a movie in a comic book.
Yeah, this is the foundation of making a good comic movie.
They stuck to their source material, and they did it well. They executed on it with the right actors, and they made sure that they didn't deviate outside the parameters of the comic. And they made sure that was the story that they were telling.
Yeah.
Now, there are a few things we didn't really like. Rachel Dawes. We didn't really like Katie Holmes. We could have seen a better actress being able to play there, especially if she is going to play out like we saw in future movies. That would have been more helpful. But
a small price, though.
Small price to pay for the perfection of this movie.
Oh yeah, man. I give it a 9.99999%.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I go a couple nines more, but I'm fine. I'm fine with where you got to.
Yeah. Oh man. So it only gets better. That's the thing, though, because
that's right.
Our next episode is going to center around the Dark Knight.
This is a 10 out of 10. People.
Oh, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight is.
I can watch. Dude.
What?
A spider just flew in my eye.
Yeah, there's a spider right here.
I know. I've been seeing that one. Been eyeballing that one. There's a spider in our studio. But that spider literally just went right in my eyeball.
Oh man.
It went in my.
Got him.
I crushed him with my eyelid, though.
Crushed him with.
I got him.
We are working in a basement.
Hey.
But we make it work. We make it look pretty.
We make it look pretty.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. But no, you're right. I can't say. I don't think I can say anything bad about the Dark Knight.
No, the Dark Knight.
I could watch it every day.
Oh yeah, it's
so good.
The perfect superhero.
If anyone
movie.
ever says, "Hey, you want to watch Dark Knight?"
The question is going to be like when you put it up against some of these other ones that you could say are like the absolutely phenomenal. You put it up against like Endgame, right?
Yeah, and but again,
perfection for different reasons.
So yeah, I would say Endgame. I enjoyed Endgame more, but that's because Endgame had 10 years of other movies behind it.
Exactly.
If you remove those movies and just have Endgame as itself, it doesn't.
Right.
But if you remove every other Batman movie ever made and just have
watch
The Dark
Knight,
you would be satisfied every time.
Every time. Every time. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's a better all-over movie.
Best movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in my. It literally is probably my number one movie of all time.
Yeah.
I love. So good. I love The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So
good. So we're excited to talk about that
and then
next.
I will also say.
Yeah.
I am a huge Dark Knight Rises fan. I know some other people are like a little bit down on it.
We're gonna have an interesting time for that one. I didn't like it that much. So we'll talk. So
but those are the ones we have coming up.
Yeah.
And I am so excited to talk to them about them each more and more and more.
Yeah.
I'm Batman. Thanks for listening to the Legion of Comic Correction. Don't forget to check out our other episodes streaming everywhere you listen to podcasts. We're also on the major social platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search Legion of Comic Correction.
That's right. And make sure to check out our Patreon for exclusive supporter specials at patreon.com/legionofcc. New episodes come out every Monday.
And Wednesdays.
No, just Mondays.
And Wednesdays?
I don't think we can do Wednesdays.
We can do Wednesdays.
All right, Mondays and Wednesdays. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, same Legion.